Aloha. You guys just had some lunch. Why don't you work a little bit harder? Aloha. There we go. Thank you so much. By the way, we have some more seats in the front. So if you are looking for a seat, please step forward. My name is Tung Bui. Together with 22 track chairs and our platoon of the University of Hawaii support staff here. And as your conference chair, I would like to welcome you to the 58th Annual Conference on System Sciences. As a starter, let me just ask you for a show of hands. How many of you have been here for more than 50 years? Okay. And how about 40 years? One. And about 30 years? We have a few. 20 years? Now it's going up. 10 years? Wow. And less than 10 years? And finally, who is here for the very first time? Wow, look at this. I understand there are 1,225 and counting participants to this 58th annual edition of the conference. We have published more than 21,000 papers over 58 years. And then let me, for the few newcomers to HICSS, let me quickly share with you a little bit of the history of HICSS, because I think very few conferences have grown and developed as HICSS has over its 58 years. HICSS actually was founded in 1968 by 3 faculty members from the University of Hawaii, one from the Department of Computer Science, one in electrical engineering, and one in business. And then the idea that they wanted to do it was because of the fact that we are basically in the middle of nowhere. So the professors wanted to do something, get their colleagues from the mainland and overseas to come to Hawaii so that they don't get, quote unquote, isolated. But then, surely enough, not only they were able to bring their friends to the paradise on earth, but they transformed HICSS to become a platform for top scientists to work together. When I was looking at the proceedings of the 1968 program, we had really top scholars at that time from Berkeley, CMU, Michigan, Illinois, MIT, Queens from Canada, all of the scientists from Bell's Labs, the Office of Naval Research, the Air Force Office of Research, and even the research outfit in Osaka, Japan. So you could see at that time there was a different configuration than what HICSS is today. But and this is how they basically developed the very first computer networking system called AlohaNet. AlohaNet and they made it 3 years after the very first public demonstration of a wireless packet data network. And you know the history after that came after ARPANET and then the internet that we are using today. So this is basically how HICSS gets started. And then a few years after, when the computer network was created and deployed, the computer science people realized that they have nothing else to do. And then it came to the era of computer applications. And this is why Bruce Schreiber and Rand Sprague took over the conference. And then this is now the business of the business schools. And this is why we see today most of the work are now focused on MIS or computer applications. So if you would like to know how innovative the conference is, I would like to invite you to go to the HICSS website, go to the About page, and look at the infographics on how the topics of research that we have done for the last 58 years has evolved, from computer networking to databases to decision support systems to accounting systems and things of that sort. So actually it is quite an interesting history about how HICSS is moving along with the evolution of computer science and computer applications. But when I was preparing this talk, reflecting on this amazing HICSS journey for 58 years, I can just tell you that the success of HICSS is actually the success of the participants, because each and every one of you who are coming here to share your work is basically our success. So the success of your success is HICSS success. So please join me to give a round of applause to all of us. As a working conference where ideas meet and science speaks, I would encourage you to visit again our open space library so that you can download all of the papers that we have put in the last few years. For the last 7 years of proceedings, we have had 5 million downloads. So this is how HICSS is becoming an important part of the science community. Another important part of the HICSS conference is the session that we have today. We are so blessed to have a series of outstanding speakers. And then I was amazed to run into a longtime friend and mentor of mine, Andy Winston from UT Austin. Andy, are you here? Andy was actually one of the keynote speakers in 1973 on computational economics, 52 years ago, and he's still coming here and give his papers. So, and I guess at that time he must be a young, rising, and impactful person. And we are so blessed today to have today and tomorrow 2 young men also rising and potentially very impactful speakers for the 58th conference that we have at HICSS. So with no further ado, let me introduce you to the introducer of the keynote speaker, Professor Vino Argaval, to come to the stage. He is a distinguished professor and Alan Bedford Endowed Chair at UC Berkeley. So Vinny, can you please come upstairs and introduce Keith for me? No, Tobias. Keith.
Well, thank you very much, Tung. I must say, this is my first time at HICSS, and when I run conferences at Berkeley, when I'm done, I tell my wife, I'm never running a conference again. I can't believe I had to run a conference with 25 people and have to manage lunches and dinners. So let's give Tung a hand for managing 1,200 people, which I would never do, but he's doing us all a great service in this work here. So without further ado, let me introduce Tobias Peyerl. My German is terrible, so I always kill his name. He leads the Strategic Intelligence and Analysis team at OpenAI, which is contributing to the organization's mission of ensuring that AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, benefits all of humanity. He has been instrumental in identifying and mitigating potential risks associated with advanced AI systems, ensuring their safe and responsible development and deployment. Prior to joining OpenAI, when I actually got to know Tobias, he was head of the Intelligence Analysis and Trust Risk Governance team at Google. And in this role, he led cross-product risk intelligence teams responsible for addressing strategic risks, threatening the safety of billions of users and the integrity of Google's services. Tobias holds a PhD in international law from HICSS Graduate Institute in Geneva, where I used to actually teach for a couple of years. He's pursued studies in law and international relations at Harvard, Sciences Po, NYU, and Humboldt University in Berlin. Now, since he works on AI issues and AGI potential issues, I was very concerned that he may just send a hologram here. So I've been touching him, so it's nothing, if you look at this, nothing is weird about our relationship, but I'm touching it, and I'm pretty sure he's not a hologram. And then I was worried, of course, he's going to use that old trick where he's going to put a little earpiece in his ear, and ChatGPT will speak to him, and he will really not be doing anything but repeating what ChatGPT is doing. I watched this on TV. Maybe I watch too much TV. But he's assured me he does not have an earpiece, and he's real. And you will see that his intelligence is not artificial, it's real. And I don't know if he can still compete with ChatGPT, but for now, I think he's clearly a winner, as you'll see from his very interesting speech. He comes and teaches at Berkeley in one of my classes, so I'm always very pleased to have him. So without further ado, Tobias.
Sorry, there's not a lot of space, so there's a lot of space management here. And just one second. Yeah, aloha to everyone. I really don't have an earpiece in there, so no worries. This is probably real, my real voice, and maybe the words were influenced by ChatGPT a little bit, but who doesn't use that these days? So first of all, thank you so much for the honor to be here at HICSS, surrounded by the gentle rustle of palm trees out there and the promise of a new year to 2025. This year really feels like a hinge in time, one where advances in AI could really redefine how we live, work, and understand what it means to be human. Our knowledge frontiers are pushing outward at breakneck speed. Teams around the globe are fine-tuning AI models to achieve feats we once considered entirely science fiction, while new industries emerge almost overnight. The pace at which we generate, interpret, and act upon information is unlike anything humanity has experienced before. And yet, for all the momentum, the path ahead remains beautifully uncertain. We stand at the edge of an intelligence horizon we can't yet fully map, a terrain teeming with possibility and potential pitfalls. To navigate it wisely, we need more than just technical skill. We need vision, humility, and a willingness to listen and learn across cultures and disciplines. I'm originally from Germany, but I've called more than a dozen countries my home. Today, I lead a strategic intelligence team at OpenAI in San Francisco, a role focused on ensuring that AI is deployed and used safely around the world. Living and working across continents taught me a crucial lesson. There is no single correct approach to shaping the future. Perspectives differ from Berlin to Bangalore, Nairobi to New York, Salvador to San Francisco. Each community brings their own hopes, worries, and priorities. As you are coming from over 45 countries, you really embody this on this beautiful island. As we enter this pivotal year, let's keep that global diversity in mind. It will guide us as we consider how AI can serve not just a privileged few, but everyone, and how we, together, might steer this remarkable technology towards outcomes we can all be proud of. Pretty unsurprisingly, at OpenAI, we talk a lot about AGI, and Vinny has already said alternative general intelligence. But what is that? And how do we define it? When we will reach it? Or will we reach it at all? Rather than giving you that ultimate definition or answer, which I don't have, I'd rather want to know from you. So let's do a little experiment here. I prepared a little poll to ask you 4 main outcomes that you could think would happen. First of all, I don't want to even go into definitional aspects here, but I'd like to ask you one of those 4 to raise your hand for one of those 4 options. First, we already have it. Second, this year we'll get it. Third, we'll get it in 5 years. And 4, never. So I'm going to ask the audience now, and raise your hand if you're one of the 4. So let's start with 1. Who in the audience thinks we already have AGI? Raise your hand, please. Yeah, I think I get like 10, 20 maybe. Yeah, interesting. I'm going to talk to you after. 2, who thinks we're going to get it this year in 2025? Yeah, that looks almost like the same, maybe 15. Then 3, maybe in 5 years. Yeah, that looks like maybe 100, 150, 200. And then 4, never. That is almost the same as 3. Very, very interesting. Okay. So how do we do this at OpenAI? Well, if you have a mission that calls for AGI, then you need to have some kind of idea what it is, right? So what we think is happened with AGI, and how we break it down a little bit more in practical terms, we think it will be emerging in the next 5 years, and maybe even a little faster, based on what we understand as it. So the meaning, of course, is not fixed. Will it be a system that simply matches human skill across many tasks, or entities that surpass us in creative, strategic, and moral dimensions? Do you need a consciousness or self-learning? Should we even measure it against human intelligence in the first place? Because machines may just have a far superior or different intelligence. Everything is pretty much unclear. But to guide our thinking and make it a bit more practical, we basically have conceptual levels at OpenAI, and we think there are potentially 5. We see ourselves at the second of those. First, there are the chatbots. You have seen those. Second, you have reasoning models that are capable of basic human-level problem solving. We think we are there already. 3, agents that complete tasks autonomously. We may get there this year. 4, innovators that invent entirely new things. And ultimately, 5, an AI that can handle the full scope of an entire organization's operations. So think a company led by one AI and no human. It's almost unnecessary to say that if we do reach AGI, and then OpenAI, we think we have a solid pathway towards it, it will mark a fundamental shift in how we innovate, solve problems, and even conceive of intelligence itself. To understand this current AI moment and its implications, it's helpful for us to situate it within a long arc of technological revolutions. Some of them we can, I think, really learn from. So let's go back to the past. We start with the Industrial Revolution. What did it do? What did it impact on? It replaced muscle, human and animal, with machine power. Factories transformed economies, displaced artisans and farmers, and over decades led to new social structures, labor unions, and regulatory frameworks. Productivity soared, but not without social cost and tension. The digital revolution automated information handling. Computers, the internet, and mobile devices reshaped communication, commerce, and culture. Entire industries rose and fell as data became an invaluable asset. But we also had issues like cybercrime, privacy, and mass surveillance at the fore. Once again, we saw immense benefits paired with profound challenges. Now we stand at the threshold of the AI revolution. This time, it's not just muscle or information being automated, it's reasoning, creativity, and decision-making. Machines no longer merely process data, they learn, adapt, generate content, and propose solutions. Unlike past transformations that began in a few industrial centers, spread slowly, the AI evolution is global and near instant. Existing digital infrastructure and connectivity led to AI solutions diffuse rapidly. You see pictures here of a farmer in Uganda that can access AI-driven weather predictions on a smartphone. In Southeast Asia, small businesses use AI-based platforms to optimize their supply chains without passing through earlier industrial stages. In Japan, care bots assist an aging population with daily tasks, offering both efficiency and emotional reassurance. As with past revolutions, AI prompts us to ask, who benefits? Who is left behind? How do we ensure fairness and guard against exploitation? But the complexity and speed of AI's spread exceed anything we've seen before. Now, before we discuss this deeper, let's take stock of where we are right now from a more technical perspective. So back to the present. In 2024, AI had matured beyond initial prototypes. Chatbots evolved into fluid conversationalists that handle follow-up questions and nuanced topics. Then we got voice-to-voice interactions that replaced awkward text commands and really outdated Siris, Alexas, and Google Assistants. Then multimodality took off with tools like Sora, Kling or Veo, enabling text-to-video generation at high fidelity. Need a marketing clip or an educational video snippet? Type a prompt and these tools can deliver components in minutes to anyone with almost zero video editing or creation experience. We're just seeing the first versions of these, right? All of these are the V1s. Some believe you'll be able to create your personalized Hollywood blockbuster with a single prompt at some point in the future. These capabilities, once the domain of specialists, are now at everybody's fingertips. We're witnessing a democratization of creative and analytical skills, allowing a broader audience to leverage AI in daily tasks, whether brainstorming a business plan, translating a technical document, or ideating a storyline for a film. At the end of 2024, we entered the reasoning paradigm. We gave the models an internal monologue. AI is no longer a mere pattern predictor. It's learning to think step by step. Models plan their answers, consider alternatives, and provide justifications. Techniques like chain-of-thought reasoning let LLMs break down complex questions logically and can generate even more advanced solutions. You can see on this chart that there are significant intelligence gains across the board on this chart. So this is just basically showing the progress of the last 3 months. And here on the left, you can obviously see human average performance, while that already was surpassed by O1, or model that first used reasoning paradigm, to the not yet published O3, which we have at least published the benchmarks already. And you see these gains are tremendous. And this is just the first 2 iterations of a series of reasoning models that you'll see. And you see, of course, these are mostly figuring out about math, coding, and reasoning. Now let's go a bit more specific. Medical diagnoses, for example. In a recent study on O1 preview, which was even before O1, the model achieved about 80% accuracy in complex medical diagnoses, compared to human clinicians at around 30%. Research can't even keep up with research anymore. We're already 2 models ahead. In coding, O3 showed that it could match the skill of a seasoned programmer, ranking as competitively as the 175th coder measured on Codeforce's website. This might not make it the world's most best coder, but it's likely like hiring a pretty senior engineer on the spot. No interview needed. The strides made in just 2 years are simply astonishing. Beyond reasoning, we see leaps in content generation quality and real contributions to scientific breakthroughs. Research appears to be accelerating at a never-before-seen speeds. And I find this chart that you see right now particularly illustrative. You see the time and the speed at which, against the artificial general intelligence abstraction and reasoning corpus benchmark, how fast we are headed. This benchmark tests an AI system's ability to tackle novel problems that demand generalization. It aims to reflect the core of general intelligence, learning to learn. Our soon-to-be fully released O3 model achieved remarkable scores here. 75% under standard compute and a striking 87% with high compute, surpassing models that previously only managed about 0 to 32%. Now, this is really expensive, so nobody should think that a prompt like that is in the dollars. It's way more expensive. Now, humans here are at about 73 to 77% in average. So you could argue that at least for this benchmark, the model is already better. O3's success on ARC AGI highlights improved reasoning capabilities, but also reveals how much further we must go to achieve general intelligence, as the model fails on some simple tasks as well. Now, see how far we've come in generating videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti, one of the biggest achievements, of course. And this is just an 18-month time frame. But fun aside, another really fascinating example is AlphaFold's contributions. Its protein structure predictions is estimated to have saved researchers decades of trial and error work, accelerating medical and biological research, and the estimates go from 50 to 50 years in that time span. This is not a subtle improvement. It's an existential shift in how quickly we can solve complex problems, and it's a good reason why Google DeepMind's Demis Hassabis and John Jumper received the Nobel Prize for this work. Now, what we also see is that models are saturating all the traditional benchmarks we're using to measure intelligence. Problems once considered AI hard are solved with ease. This means we need new tests, more complex dynamic benchmarks that measure adaptability, creativity, ethical judgment, and cultural competence. The rapid progress on the AGI benchmark and other challenges underscores just how swiftly AI is advancing and how urgently we must redefine what it means to measure intelligence in machines. Yet what is crazy about this all is the adoption of cutting-edge AI isn't really there much yet. It really is very uneven. Startups and research labs can pivot instantly, integrating the latest model really fast. Traditional companies outside the Silicon Valley bubble, characterized by legacy systems, heavy regulatory frameworks, or a more cautious leadership, are often falling behind. Implementing predictive AI in century-old manufacturing firm can take years, requiring cultural change and workforce training. The gap between the cutting edge and industry practice creates both opportunities and tensions as AI redefines competitive landscapes. Now we have all of this already, so what does that actually mean? And what's next? So let's go to the future. As we have seen in 2024 already at the end a bit, some glimpses were there of what's next. It definitely starts with a more autonomous AI future. Anthropic, for example, shared its research on computer-using agents that navigate the digital realm, run software tools, and perform tasks without human micromanagement. Google's Waymo expanded its autonomous driving footprint, pushing self-driving cars into more complex environments and many more cities in the United States and soon Japan. Robotics, long considered challenging due to complex and brittleness, experienced a revolution as LLMs with vision abilities and low latency guide machines through unfamiliar terrains. A lot of money is going into this field right now. Early trials at Google DeepMind and elsewhere suggest robots might soon adapt to unforeseen environments at scale. And finally, most importantly, a Chinese company has figured out how our robot vacuums can detect and remove our lost socks and papers. As we move through 2025 and beyond, the practical integration of AI into our economies, infrastructures, and daily lives becomes both richer and more nuanced. We will see AI agents that are not just tools, but collaborative partners, digital co-workers, embedded in everyday workflows, likely starting with an automated software engineer pretty soon. Picture a financial agent that autonomously reconciles thousands of transactions within seconds, detects subtle patterns indicative of fraud long before human analysts would. In healthcare, imagine an AI agent that monitors patients' vitals around the clock. An ever-watchful companion who flags early warning signs of heart failure or irregularities, or a subtle shift in blood sugar levels. This agent could instantly notify the attending physician and recommend a timely intervention. As the AI landscapes diversifies, special models trained on domain-specific datasets will set new performance benchmarks as well. In healthcare, a model honed on MRI images, for example, from different demographics and health conditions could identify rare tumors that generalist systems miss. AI will transform drug discovery by designing new molecules in weeks instead of years. We have seen this already with in silico medicine's AI-designed drug for pulmonary fibrosis, which reached clinical trials in just 18 months. Breakthroughs will reduce costs and speed up the development of life-saving treatments. The role of AI in sustainability will also intensify. Smart grids managed by adaptive AI controllers will balance energy supply and demand across entire regions, reducing waste and lowering emissions. In the realm of education, personalized AI tutors and assistants could finally bridge long-standing global learning gaps. Any student anywhere could interact with a personal AI tutor that dynamically adapts to their learning style, providing extra math drills when needed. It could offer visual explanations for complex chemistry problems or reading history lessons aloud in a familiar accent. Over time, the tutor refines its approach, helping the student not only gain knowledge, but build confidence and critical thinking skills. And now, most importantly, imagine the hyper-personalized AI sidekick that knows you better than you know yourself. It curates workouts based on your wearable data and politely ignores when you skip leg day. Your personal AI sidekick may also suggest recipes that magically align what you still have in the fridge. All these advancements paint a vivid picture of a future enriched by AI. Yet, of course, we can't forget about the safety and alignment of AI. In past socioeconomic revolutions, we often acted after the fact. During the Industrial Revolution, fair labor practices and safety standards emerged only after factories had already reshaped societies. In the Digital Revolution, we confronted privacy concerns, disinformation, and mental health challenges long after the internet and social media took hold. With AI, we're trying something different. Often informed by a tremendous amount of science fiction dystopias, we're talking openly about safety, alignment, and human well-being before the technology fully settles in. We've already, however, seen some real-life risks. On the left side here, you see AI undressing apps violating consent of teenagers, culturally offensive image generation, and flawed moderation tools spreading hate. We've learned that people can form deep bonds with chatbots, sometimes for the better, sometimes not, as you see in that middle picture. Bad actors are also already trying to weaponize AI for scams and disinformation. But this time, we're aiming not to get caught off guard. Policymakers, developers, ethicists, and everyday users are all at the table already. AI is also increasingly used to detect harmful content, counteract biases, and protect online communities. My own and many other safety teams at OpenAI were in place long before these models reached maturity. An early investment in safety that was never an afterthought. We know we aren't solving every problem already, but we are committed to staying vigilant, learning as we go, and listening to diverse voices as we chart a more thoughtful path forward. At OpenAI, we focus on making AI safer from pre-training to monitoring the use of our deployed models. And we continuously reaching and researching new safety approaches. We call the latest approach for reasoning models deliberative alignment. It teaches AI models step by step the human written rules they should follow. As the model's reasoning improves, so does their capacity to respect our values. Our O series, as mentioned before, are examples of this approach in action. They read policies, reflect on them, and try to do the right thing, even under challenging circumstances. Their performance on strict safety benchmarks shows that stronger reasoning can also lead to more aligned behavior. This isn't a one-and-done solution. We still release models gradually, test them rigorously, and invite feedback from critics and users alike. Early GPT versions weren't perfect, but by the time we launched GPT 3.5, we had implemented stronger safeguards and cut down on harmful content dramatically. As alignment methods and reasoning skills advance, we can make AI an even more reliable partner, one that helps keep the online world safer, more respectful, and more inclusive. It's definitely a work in progress, and we're committed to steady, transparent improvement. But with past industrial and digital revolutions, managing AI's impact and potential disruption demands really an all-of-society approach. Leaders in AI emphasize the need for inclusive, democratic governance involving governments, nonprofits, academia, businesses, and civil society to develop robust policies and ethical frameworks. Cultural flashpoints are likely to continue. You're seeing controversial images here, like a burning Waymo car in San Francisco, and on the right side, a billboard from a startup in San Francisco as well that claims and calls people not to hire humans anymore. These incidents underscore that AI is not purely technical, but deeply cultural, social, and political. Governance frameworks must be adaptive and iterative, evolving with technology to ensure AI remains a positive force for humanity. AI's transformative potential exceeds deep into geopolitics and national security as well. China's rapid advancements, exemplified, for example, by models such as DeepSeek version 3, surpass some of their US competitors, raise questions about strategic advantage and global competition. If AGI appears soon, it could reshape international relations, security, and the economic balance. My own CEO, Sam Altman, has a vision that focuses on forging a global coalition, an AI version of the IAEA, the Atomic or Nuclear Energy Association, focused on international norms, security and trade rules, and infrastructure. Such cooperation aims to prevent an AI arms race, authoritarian manipulation, or destabilizing power imbalances. The alternative is really grim. A fractured world where AI serves as a wedge rather than a bridge. To achieve a beneficial global AI future, we must integrate diverse perspectives. A rural village in India, a boardroom in Silicon Valley, and a Beijing research institute have very different priorities and moral frameworks. Incorporating all of these viewpoints into global AI governance will be critical for ensuring fairness, legitimacy, and trust. Now, as we stand on the brink of what I call the intelligence horizon, and many others do too, we face a moment that could reshape our world in ways we've never seen before. This is a unique time in history where the choices we make today, guided by past lessons and a clear understanding of what the risks and opportunities are, can set a smarter path forward. Unlike past revolutions, we are not waiting until it's too late to talk about ethics, social impacts, and cultural sensitivities. We are tackling these issues now, all together here, in some extent, openly and in real time, an opportunity generations before us rarely had. Tomorrow, my colleague Keith will talk about the other side of AI, the hardware and compute systems driving these breakthroughs. While I focus on how AI is transforming thinking and decision-making, Keith will show how advancements in chips, integrated designs, and supply chains power this progress. AI and hardware are deeply connected. Every leap in computing unlocks new AI capabilities, and every AI breakthrough reshapes how we think about hardware. On a personal note, this journey feels extraordinary to me. For example, Sam Altman just recently said that he imagined this future for him as a child, being that CEO that works on AGI. Growing up in a free and open world, he dreamed of a future shaped by powerful AI. We are the same age, but my story is quite different. Raised in East Germany, behind walls that limited imagination, I couldn't have dreamed of working on technology that could redefine human potential. Back then, ideas about machine intelligence came from smuggled books or whispered stories from a world beyond the wall. Yet, somehow here I am, part of an effort that sometimes feels like living in real-life science fiction movie. This contrast reminds me that technology isn't just a force of nature. It's something we create together. AI is not an inevitable future. It's the result of choices we're making today. By learning from the past, staying alert to challenges, and working across boundaries, whether technical, cultural, or political, we can guide AI toward a future that respects human values and benefits people everywhere. Thank you for being part of this journey today. I'm excited for the conversation ahead, and I'm ready to be grilled by your questions.